Hello and welcome to Swamp Chats here, part of the Five Reasons Sports Network, the first post game that we'll have here for the Florida Gators. Gators just finally finished the game. They gave up an unreal amount of points and yards to Ole Miss, a game that should not have been as close in the scoreline as it actually is. My name is Kai Chen Chisholm, also known as Samurai Radio on Twitter. And we have a guest with us. Of course, me and Manny will be the people doing the post game, and we'll have some content for you guys throughout the week. However, we do have a guy in Jazz Santana with us. Jazz, looking at the game, how do you think, even though, with your bias, how do you think the Gators played?
Hey, look, I came on here thinking I'm going to be as unbiased as possible, and I think I'm going to do a good job at it. So, give me some credit for that. Kyle Trask looks like the truth, man. The kid is legit. Last year at the beginning, I had some I didn't think he was going to be as good as he was, right? He ended up being the number 2 quarterback in the ACC and I'm thinking ACC already. See that in the SEC. So thought he was legit. He played well today, right? 416 yards passing, 6 touchdowns. The kid's a real deal. Florida's offense is absolutely amazing with all the weapons that you guys have there with Copeland, Tony. Of course, Kyle Pitts, not even going to mention him with 4 touchdowns today. So, if I were a Florida Gators fan, I'd probably like to see a little more from the running game. I don't, I'm not too well versed on who the running backs are there aside from the kid Naquan Wright, who's obviously a local kid from Carroll City. But aside from that, I'm not very well versed on who the running backs are, and obviously Lorenzo Lingard, who transferred from Miami over to Florida also. So, but I definitely think that if I was a Gator fan, I'd like to see more from the running game.
Well, they had ways last season. Of course, Lamichael P. Ryan gets drafted in the NFL now with the Jets. A little bit unfortunate because, the Jets suck. But, also don't know how to run the football. But he really came on towards the end of last season. And even in last season, you saw Kadarius Toney, who was kind of that, I guess, gadget kind of player. You saw him in the receiving game, you saw him in the running game. Today he got a couple of carries, only 2, but got some yards. Damian Pierce really held the load, which was not, I wouldn't say shocking, but they did have a drive where it was just hand the ball off to Pierce, hand the ball off to Pierce, hand the ball off to Pierce, and he was just getting those yards. And it's something different. Like last season, not last season, but like the season before, they did struggle a little bit with running the football last season. Then you saw P. Ryan really get to it, then finish off the year, of course, with a great Orange Bowl game. I would agree. I would want to see them run the football, but even at the same time, if Kyle Trask is able to pull off a day where he's throwing for 6 touchdowns, you want to continue to see that.
Not going to complain about 6 touchdowns, tell you that.
Yeah.
Probably not going to matter how well you run the ball when he does that.
Yeah. But, we talked about Kyle, or you mentioned Kyle Pitts. The dude, it's just, he had an insane game. That last touchdown, I think even Gators fans can admit a little Seahawks-Packer in terms of, that could have gone either way, but he looks like he's just a grown man playing against kids. 8 receptions, 170 yards, 4 touchdowns. We were talking before, Manny, about how this is probably the best tight end since name redacted that used to play for the University of Florida. Yeah. How do you feel knowing that we have an offensive weapon as big and as impactful as we do in Kyle Pitts?
If you're a Gators fan, you have to be ecstatic knowing that Trask has this guy in Pitts. Listen, we lost a lot of wide receivers last season. And like you just mentioned, we haven't had a tight end like this since 2007 and 8. So for Trask to have this type of weapon, I'm saying, like, there were so many plays in which, Ole Miss blitzed and Trask knew where he was going with the football. And it was always directed at Pitts. So that has to be greatness right there, like the whole season, because if they can't run the football, it's going to be a headache. Real quickly, though, last season they had trouble running the ball, so what they started to do was setting up the throw to set up the they were throwing the football more to set up the run. I'm not a big fan of that, especially in the SEC, because at times you need to be able to be physical, you need to be able to force yourself on the opponent. But listen, if that's what Dan Mullen's going to be good at and great at, I'm not going to complain as long as it creates W's. I'm not going to talk about the defensive side yet, so we're talking offense because the defense has me growing white hairs on my head. But listen, for Trask to be as consistent and just unbelievable today, he tied Joe Burrow with 6 touchdowns in an SEC opener. That's huge. But then you got to look at the running game as well. They totaled 196 total yards as I'm watching on 29 carries. I need to see more of Pierce. I need him to be the guy, the consistent guy running the football. Not saying that Malik Davis can't. I thought that Davis had an opportunity last season, but of course with P. Ryan there, less carries, but also Davis fumbled the football way too many times. With the whole combination of Pierce and Davis, I feel like Dan Mullen needs to find a good combination there and running the football to set up the pass. Because listen, you scoring points, throwing the football, scoring 51, today, that's great. That's wonderful. Is that going to be possible against LSU? Is that going to be possible against Georgia? Is that going to be possible against every other SEC top defensive opponent? I don't think so. So that's one of the two things right there that I feel like Dan Mullen needs to go back to the drawing board and try to figure out, because you got to be able to run the football. If you want to get to Atlanta, you have to be able to run the football.
Yeah, you saw it a few times last season where they had those issues of, can we pass the football with Trask? Can we run the football? I think like the LSU game was one where they were in between things, and of course probably should have won that game. They had a bunch of chances offensively that they missed. Against Georgia last year, like just situations where they should have been able to do certain things and they weren't able to at all offensively. Is there any player, I guess, offensively, because I do want to really, really touch on the defense, just because I know you and me are both very disappointed with what happened.
So we're going there so like early. Come on, man. Let's keep talking offense, bro.
Okay, so is there any player?
You guys, I'm gonna say my defense didn't play well last weekend either, man. So if you want, we can all.
All right.
Hey, look, there you go. But for both of you guys, and either of you could go first. Is there any player besides Trask and Pitts and I guess Pierce that showed up on offense that you were just very, very like happy with or popped up on the field?
I would probably say it was nice to see Wright get some touches. It wasn't a lot, but at least in the 3-4 plays that he saw there, you saw the explosiveness, you saw versatility, you saw what he can become. And how about Tony? I mean, listen, Dan Mullen, love you, bro. He shouldn't be on special teams. I'm sorry. He should not be on special teams. You can't tell me that the University of Florida cannot recruit somebody to play kickoff return and punt return. Tony cannot be anywhere else but except on offense. I'm sorry. Besides that, I thought that Grimes had an okay game, but he wasn't used a lot in the offense because Pitts was open all freaking day. Ole Miss secondary looked confused at times. And I thought Copeland had a couple good catches here and there. And it was good to see Baby Hendo do something. I'm saying, listen, I believe isn't he a true freshman, right?
I think
Henderson and whatnot. So
yeah,
so it was good to see him get a couple snaps here and there. But again, I want to keep reiterating it. Pierce only had 9 carries for 54 yards. You need to be able to pound the football, run it, especially in this conference. So,
yeah, I think there were some things that disappointed me. The one, Trayvon Grimes, I remember a few years back when he got recruited to the University of Florida, one of my friends was explaining to me, oh, this guy's huge, this guy's great, he's going to be a big part of the offense. And I feel like I never kind of saw that and still haven't really saw him be a big part of the offense. Do you think that, and I'll move this over to Jazz, do you think that that's going to keep happening if Pitts continues to show his production that he can show?
Oh yeah. I think he's gonna. Well, you're talking about Grimes getting more involved in the passing game.
I would say, like, do you think that he'll be able to get more involved with Pitts, or do you think it might be a vice versa, where if Pitts is putting up such big production and put such numbers, that it continues to dial down for Grimes?
Here's the thing, right? Pitts is a first round guy, right? He's a first round talent. He's probably one of the top 10. Right now, he's a top 2. Well, he's a top 2 tight end in the country. It's him and maybe guys like Freiermuth and of course Brevin Jordan.
Yeah, Brevin Jordan, yeah, for sure.
That's the truth. So I think what's going to happen is I think that the play that Grimes is actually going to get more, right? More looks, because a lot of people are going to start zoning in and honing in on covering Pitts and kind of neutralizing him. I don't know if you can stop a guy like that, because you saw that last touchdown pass that Trask threw to Pitts in the end zone. When he was double covered and then or triple covered, he wrestled the ball away from the guy. So absolutely. I don't know if they're going to be able to stop him, but I think that they're going to try to neutralize him and put a couple guys on him early on in the game and have other guys like Grimes and Copeland and all these other guys beat you as well. And that's going to present a problem for any defense, because all of the Gator wide receivers, whether they're young or inexperienced, they still have talent. And I still have yet to see bigger traps on anybody but Jacob Copeland as well, because I saw that picture of that guy with those traps. So I think he's going to have a big year as well. I can see Grimes and Copeland kind of step up. And I just think, it's going to be hard to stop Pitts either way. But I think those guys could definitely get some more looks. touches.
Pitts just feels like a guy where the offense is just going to continue to run on him, and if he can just continue to put this up, I think there's no doubt. He obviously, I think right now everyone knows he's going to be a first round pick, but if he continues it, we could see him be a really high first round pick. And of course, I guess when you look at it with Kyle Trask, then you start thinking what's his stuff in the draft. Very quickly, I know it's not Gators related, but Kansas State just beat Oklahoma.
Wow.
So
hey Kai, you know what that means, right? We moving up, baby.
yeah, we're
That's big.
that they were
That's
up.
2 years in a row now. 2 years in a row.
I think Oklahoma was up. I can't
Oklahoma.
remember what it was.
I think Oklahoma was up by at least 17,
30,
21 or something.
I think it was
like
35 to 14, and Kansas State scored 17 in the fourth quarter.
Kansas State. All right.
Shocking.
Hey, but before you guys move to defense, I wanted to piggyback really quick off of what Manny said with Kadarius Toney and the running game. I think that they may utilize him a little more in the running game on jet sweeps and around.
A lot of sweeps for sure.
Huge. That's going to be huge with his speed. And if you see a guy like Dameon Pierce get, kind of not get going in the game, look for that to happen a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, you saw last season he was really effective in that. He has, I mean, the speed is insane. They were using him on screens, end arounds, in the run game, in the passing game, and again, a guy like that, you should not have him strictly playing special teams and a couple offensive snaps. I mean, that's some firepower that the offense could just continue to use. I would much rather see Emory Jones stay on the sidelines and not throw an interception, and put more of Kadarius Toney. There's no reason, even though it's quarterback, wide receiver, running back, gadget player, whatever. I don't want to see Emory Jones on the field. Why give Emory Jones snaps, even though he's a quarterback? Let's just, get off that mindset and put Kadarius Toney in. A transition I was going to use, from one team, falling apart on defense in Oklahoma to one team in the Gators whose defense was just not showing today. I mean, early on, third down was horrendous for the Gators defense.
If just one quick thing, if 2020 wasn't as difficult enough, my goodness, third down and Todd Grantham is back, my friend, and that is not good.
Even just third and long is where the situation I think was just, you saw them make some stops on third and short, but they weren't able to make any stops on third and long. Even towards the end of the game, you see like a 3rd and 9, a 3rd and 10, and they're not able to make the stop. It mind blowing to me. You do lose some starters on defense to the draft, but just today was it was really disappointing to see what they were doing. I mean, the graphics up right there, 613 yards given up. I mean, it was I think 30 something less than what the Gators put up on offense, and I think everyone can say that the Gators dominated the game. But you look at the scoreline, you look at the yards. I mean, the defense just wasn't there. And I know, Manny, I know you have a lot to say, so I'll put that on to you.
I mean, the only thing that was, listen, we understand that these teams, or the whole college landscape, didn't have like a lot of time to prepare and whatnot, and I get it. It's Lane Kiffin. If anybody knows about Lane Kiffin, it's definitely me. I was on the FAU sidelines last 2 years playing against FAU, and it was the most frustrating thing when they had quarterback after quarterback, running back after running back, just creating plays and doing all types of things. But once again, I will give a pass on the first drive where we came up big and we stopped them on 4th down. Maybe the first 2 touchdown drives. But when you continue to give up 3rd and 10, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 19, I mean, godly, like what type of defensive scheme are you calling? Number one. Number two, you already know that you're without Jeremiah Moon. You're already without Campbell. So those are 2 guys in the front that for sure would have been on 3rd downs. But you're playing prevent. You're playing zone. There's no way why quarterbacks in a new system like this with this amount of time should be able to complete a 3rd and long. I'm sorry. This is not, Pee-wee football, okay? You should go up there, do your game plan on 3rd down, and create havoc. That means blitz. That means create, disruptions. Do some type of, fake blitzing scheme and whatnot. I didn't see none of those things. I saw guys wide open today. I saw 3rd down plays being made by quarterback, which we had no, spy on. Okay, I don't know what game plan at halftime, Todd Grantham drew up, because you had a first, by halftime you should have already known what Ole Miss was doing on offense without question, and yet you still gave up a total of 613 yards. I mean, and this is Ole Miss. Like, I know it's not Vanderbilt and whatnot, but like I said, talking about the offense, if you if this is the way that you're going to be on defense against Ole Miss, I mean, listen, we're going to have a long year of hoping that Kyle Trask and the offense score 50-plus points, because you can't give up, 613 yards to an Ole Miss defense, to an Ole Miss offense that, they had what? I think it was one turnover. We only have one turnover, and that was Cox, which in back-to-back plays he had a sack, I believe, on second down, and he deflected the ball on third down to create that INT. But it's going to be a long year on defense if we don't decide to fix up that third down issues, which Tom Grantham had it at Georgia, and that's what I was tell Jazz. This is nothing new with Tom Grantham. He was at Georgia. Georgia always gave up 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15s, and you're like head scratchers. Like, you have the athletes. Put your guys in a much better position to make plays on third down. Like, I don't understand how you can win a first and second down, and the money down, you just decide to, not, put your pedal to the metal and get your offense back to football. So, I know I said a lot there and I ramble. It's just frustration because we've seen this before. And I don't want this to be the cause of us not going to Atlanta because we give up 1 or 2 games on defense on third down.
Yeah. And you mentioned it. I don't know if it was during the show or before the show. It's not going to hold against his bigger SEC teams. I mean, you're not going to be able to. And of course, we don't know exactly what LSU is really going to look like, come October 17th when they play the Gators. But you just can't, your defense cannot continue to play this way and expect the offense to just have a shootout every single game. I don't think that's going to happen it's really not.
I mean, Kai, look at the stat.
It's just,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's insane. How is it a new offense? I don't care if it's Lane Kiffin. I don't care if it's John Madden, the Wonder Wizard. You cannot give up 9 of 14 on third down.
No, you can't.
You just can't. Jazz, you have one of the most potent defenses in this entire country. If you gave up 9 out of 14 on third down to an Ole Miss team, I probably want to, let's say, I don't know, a team in the ACC which has a brand new staff and whatnot, but that's inexcusable, man. That's ridiculous.
But I'll tell you what, though. I'm glad that we're not the only fan base that's smutting down on the first game or the second game of the season with our defense not playing. And I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm going to say, look, if that presents itself, against a team like Louisville, which I'm not sure what their third down conversion rate was last week, but listen, we didn't do that well either. We gave up over 500 yards of offense. So what I'm looking at is, this Florida Gators team was missing a couple of guys. Okay, number one. Number two, maybe some of the younger guys are still yet acclimated to this SEC style play. Number three, you've got Lane Kiffin, who likes to throw different sets and different things at you on offense as well, and he scores points, right? So regardless of who it is that he's facing, he scores points. And you got a lot of young guys in that secondary with Elam and some other guys that you have back there. That it's the first game of the season. This has been kind of a crazy ass summer and even I guess training camp per se or camp altogether. So it's the first game of the season. I think that 613 yards given up is a lot. Some of that stuff is kind of garbage yards. Okay, towards the end, the score didn't reflect really.
I mean, one of those last drives at the end though was ridiculous. I think I forget which player it was that had, it was like 3 receptions, 63 yards on just that one drive.
Yeah,
like that drive was ridiculous. You can't give that up even in garbage time.
Yeah, and real quick,
guys, garbage time is when you want them to kind of show out and be like, all right, let's kind of shut the door and that's it and go home.
Yeah.
I guess, Jazz, where my frustration is when we went up by, I think we were up. What was the score at halftime? Was it 28-14?
28-14.
Right?
Yeah.
28-14. So we went and we scored a touchdown in 2 plays to Pitts, which was a 71-yarder. And, here we are thinking, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity for this defense to go back on the field, get the 3 and out. They let Ole Miss go right down the field like they had no idea what the hell they were doing, and they scored a touchdown in 2 plays. That can't happen.
Yeah, that can't happen.
Ludicrous.
It can't happen either way. So it is frustrating. It's frustrating to see, when you've got players on defense and they're still giving up that amount of yardage. So, listen, who do you guys have next weekend? Who are you playing next weekend?
South Carolina.
We're at home at the Swamp against South Carolina. Yep.
Okay. I mean, it's an opportunity for Todd Grantham and his whole staff.
Will Muschamp.
Yeah,
Muschamp.
Hate that, man. Absolutely hate that, man.
A team in South Carolina that says they have no budget, but yet they spend over $1 million in a a new Gamecock looking gold thing in front of their stadium.
Right. Nice.
Stuff. But yeah, guys, I mean, overall, listen, if you're a Gators fan, you'll take the W. We didn't even know we were going to even have football this season, right? So
Yeah.
But you know what? You look at the positives. What are the positives? Kyle Trask, quarterback. So 30 out of 42, 416 yards and 6 touchdowns. That ties Joe Burrow with the most touchdowns in an SEC opener. Not going to hit about that. And of course, our MVP of the game, which I say MVP.
Undisputed.
I know.
Undisputed.
I know that Trask had a great day and whatnot, but I think Kyle Pitts just made Trask's job so much easier. Wait, is it Kyle Pitts? No, right? Is it? I don't even know anymore. But hey, listen, 8 reception, 170 yards, 4 touchdowns. You can probably say that the state of Florida has the top. To me personally, that's me, just me saying, the state of Florida has the top 2 tight ends in this year's draft, without question. And I know people don't watch. I don't know how much people know about Brevin Jordan, but I really thought that Miami got away from throwing him the football last season towards the end. And I truly feel like this offense for them, besides King running the ball for the Canes, I think Jordan is a huge factor, just like Pitts is for us, without question.
Yeah. I think both of us have, kind of unproven wide receivers, aside from maybe Tony for you guys, right? And I think it's the same thing for us. We don't have that proven wide receiver, and Brevin Jordan and Will Mallory too. A lot of people forget that Will Mallory could probably be a first-round tight end the next year as well. He's got that NFL body. So those guys, the tight ends in Florida, forget about it. I don't think there's anybody better. I know Freiermuth gets a lot of recognition, but I just don't. He's not as athletic as a guy like Pitts is. What, 6'5", 6'6"? He's a big dude, right? And then
guy's a beast, and he runs like he has no guy. Yeah,
he's a gazelle.
Put a hand on him. Yeah, exactly.
That's
beautiful strides.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think that's going to be the strong point of both offenses, and we'll just go from there. That's it.
So one more thing on the wide receivers before we move on. So Kai, so you mentioned Grimes. I felt like Grimes couldn't explode last season because you had Hammond, you had Vance Jefferson, you had Cleveland, you had too many wide receivers. Just too many guys. Not to mention Reggie Swain, which was the unbelievable guy in the entire season in the slot for us. This season, though, I do agree. You need to see Grimes a little bit step up. We're going to need that because there's going to be games against Georgia, LSU. I'm trying to think of any other opponent. Even Tennessee. You're going to have opponents that they're going to double team Pitts. They're going to make sure that Kyle Pitts can't get off that line of scrimmage freely. And that's one of the things that I was hoping that Ole Miss would do today so I can look at that more is once you jam Pitts at the line of scrimmage, how much leverage can he get you after that? Because we know what he can do. And me and Jazz just mentioned it. Runs like a gazelle. The man can do one stride, and he's already over 15 yards. That's how unique, athletic beast he is. But we're going to need Grimes to be that Trask second fold, per se, because Pitts is going to get double coverage. And if we face Alabama and in Atlanta, Nick Saban knows, listen, you stop Kyle Pitts. If we haven't been able to run the football effectively, we're going to need guys like Grimes to step up. And this is when I want Grimes to, be himself, because it feels like last season he couldn't do that because of there was a lot of bodies in the kitchen. It's too many chefs. Yeah. Now you have one chef, you can be the sous chef, but then that could be alternated. Okay. Because, Kyle Trask, his touch, his pocket awareness is so good. He'll make sure that if you're not open the first time when he sees you, if he's scrambling back there, keep running your route, create plays. That's what we need Grimes to do.
I feel like last season as well, before we kind of wrap everything up with Grimes, it was like you saw Tony get in positions that you wanted, Grimes to be in, and situations where the team just obviously, as you said, there are too many chefs in the kitchen. He was just, you had Tyree Cleveland, you had Freddie Swain, you had Van Jefferson. Like they were in the positions to make plays, and all three are on NFL teams right now.
By the way, Freddie Swain scored a touchdown last weekend.
Yeah, scored a touchdown for the Seahawks last weekend.
Yeah.
And then Tyree Cleveland is, of course, on the Broncos. Van Jefferson's featuring big in the Rams offense. So you had a lot of guys. So it was harder for Trayvon Grimes to step up, but you do want to see him kind of get going. But again, look, it's the first game of the season. Hopefully everything for the Gators can continue to smooth out and get better, and you just see everything kind of cooking a little bit better. Offensively, of course, everyone loves what we saw today. You want to see more of the run game, but you like that Kyle Trask was able to step up big time. Kyle Pitts had a really good game. You just want that defense to not give up the amount of yards, 613 again, that they gave up against Ole Miss. Jazz, I'm pretty sure there's a 5 rings Canes today before the game or after the game.
Yeah, we got a pregame show. It's the 6 ring. It's actually the 6 ring Kane show.
6 ring Canes show.
Yeah, the show that is produced by a Gators guy.
Yeah, I know. Unbelievable. He does a good job, so I'm pretty impressed that he doesn't screw it up on intentionally.
You got to keep it professional on 5 reasons.
Yeah, you do. You
do.
We got love for all of you. You know, it's all good.
Right.
It's at 7 p.m. tonight to kind of preview everything you need to know about Canes and FSU tonight. And I think we could all agree that FSU needs to get their asses kicked, which, you know, it's probably going to happen. But, hey, listen, it's a rivalry game. You never know. So that should be exciting, though. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I want to see FSU lose. But thank you guys for tuning in to the first pregame or postgame. Sorry, Jazz, thank you so much for coming on with us. Is there anything, like, I guess, any last words from either you or Manny that you want to touch on, or
just really quickly
here?
Yeah, no, guys, please make sure you follow us at the Twitter handle at the bottom of the screen at Flower Swamp Chats. We're gonna be trying to do post games after every game, and of course, we'll be doing previews during the week. Same thing, I know, for 5 Reasons Canes, what they've been doing, and hopefully, I think Miami, Florida play in 2-3 years, right? So that should be one heck of a show there whenever we get to that point. Hopefully.
2023.
Yeah, 23. So that should be great. But other than that, just give us a follow. Any questions you may ask or whatnot, we'll answer them in the preview show for South Carolina during the week and stuff like that. So,
yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Again, make sure you follow on Twitter, and we'll see you guys in our pregame show, and then, of course, a postgame show next week.
Go Gators.